Because Matt Holland is here, former Ipswich captain, Ipswich legend no less. It's an Ipswich special because they're going well this season, Matt.
No, they're not going very well. It's a horrible situation that's panning out at Portman Road at the moment. Bottom of the table, and look, not playing particularly well. Crowds have held up pretty well, to be honest. I mean, it was 18,000, I think, against QPR at the weekend. But speaking to lots of friends and people that go to the game, they said that was probably the lowest they've been watching it. I know someone, a close friend of mine, left at half-time. He said it was that bad. He said it's the worst he's seen as an Ipswich Town supporter. So it's really worrying what's happening to the club at the moment. There seems to be lots of things wrong. I mean, I'll give you some of the stats. In 2018, they've won 2 home games in 2018. The worst they've ever done is win 5 in a year.
In a calendar year.
And in both of those seasons, they went down the following summer. So that's a big problem. In the 18 home games, that is, they've scored 3 first-half goals in 18 home games in 2018.
Astonishing.
1 clean sheet in 14 games at the start of this season, and that was a 0-0 draw against Bolton. They've used 27 players already in the Championship, which is the most of any other team in the division. There's so much wrong. I mean, I'll start with the recruitment in the summer. Now, okay, people have their say about Mick. I'm a Mick fan. I mean, Ipswich fans, I think, had fallen out of love with Mick. It's quite right. You know, that is the truth. And I think it was probably the right time to make a change in the summer. I thought it was the right time for Mick to leave. But the recruitment has not been good enough. Simple as that. I mean, you look at the players that have gone. I'll go Martin Waghorn, £5 million to Derby, Adam Webster to Bristol City, Joe Garner to Wigan, David McGoldrick on a free to Sheffield United. That's 4 quality players that you've lost. In have come a number of players from League One and League Two. Now, I'm not saying that the players in League One and League Two can't make the step up to the Championship, but what I think to ask, say, 8 or 9 of them to do it at the same time is asking an awful lot of those players. He spent big money on Caden Jackson, over £1.5 million on a player. Now, I don't like picking players out. It's not because it's a little bit unfair, but he scored 12 goals in League Two with Accrington. 12 goals. I don't know what you're expecting from him in the Championship. If he'd scored 30, 35 in League One, you might go, well, actually, he might well make that step up. Look, I'm being a bit unfair by picking him out individually. He's not the only one. I mean, there's other players that have come in. Guion Edwards has done pretty well, actually, from Peterborough. He's the one player that's I've been excited about when I've watched him. I've watched them 3 or 4 times this season. I've been excited by him. But generally...
But he took him off at the weekend, didn't he?
Took him off after an hour. Now, by all accounts, wasn't playing particularly well, but he's still someone that can do something. So, recruitment, I think, has been an issue. Tactic-wise, well... Bart Bielkowski has been the best goalkeeper in the Championship, not just the best goalkeeper at the club for however many years. I think he's been Player of the Year at Ipswich 3 times in the last 4 years, something like that. And now, all right, we all have bad spells and we have bad games, but to leave him out just seems absolutely madness to me. The weekend he played Pennington at right back. Now, he's a centre back. He played Donatsian at left back. He's a right back. So you got straight away 2 players out. You've got Jonas Knudsen, who's an international for Denmark, sat on the bench. Now he might not have played particularly well either, but his natural position is left back. So why isn't he came on against Swansea and had a decent second half. So why wasn't Jonas Knudsen playing at left back? Just not enough quality in the team. Scoring goals is an issue, and when you lose Waghorn, Garner, and McGoldrick, and replace them with players who aren't as good as them, then it's a problem. So, look, much like Newcastle, you can argue that they haven't had the money. They've made a profit this summer again. But it's Paul Hurst's men. He's made those changes. He's decided that they can go, and he's decided that they're the players that he can go out and get and bring in. But he spent £5 million on players. It's not like he hasn't spent money. He has spent £5 million on what, 9 or 10 players, number on loan as well. The fixtures coming up, the way it leads at the weekend, on Wednesday, and then they play Millwall, Preston and Reading before the international break. Those 3 games now, add the Leeds one as well, absolutely crucial to what's going to happen the rest of the season. I don't know what's going to happen and whether a change will be made. I You hear one or two things when you're involved and you're close to the club. I've heard that Marcus Evans has spoken to other managers, and that there's a possibility that something might change. I don't know whether that will happen or not.
But they can't keep on losing.
I'm talking about that. That was a couple of weeks ago that I heard that he'd spoken to other managers. So that would be interesting to see. You also hear things about what's going on the training ground and things. And by all accounts, perhaps man management has been lacking, I would suggest. There's been one or two incidents where I think the players that haven't been particularly happy with the way they've been dealt with. Bart Bielkowski would be one of them, I'm sure. He had one bad game, I think, at Sheffield Wednesday. He had a pretty poor performance, but he was dropped the next game. You can't just drop someone on one game, especially when he's been your best player for how many years. Look, you want to come in and you want to make your own stamp on it as a manager. Quite rightly, you want to do it your way. I mean, you can argue there was quite a bit wrong at the back end of last season. You wanted to change things up a little bit, but he's come in and completely changed things. Fitness, by all accounts, they've not had a harder pre-season in all the time they've been at the club. And that was one they wanted to play high pressing football. They wanted to play on the front foot. It's just, I'm at a loss really, because I'm so upset. A club that I'm so close to. I still live down the road. I go as much as I can. It's difficult. I work on a Saturday generally, so it's difficult to go and see them on a weekend. But I go on midweek games. I saw them first game of the season against Blackburn. Probably a bit fortunate to get a draw that day as well. It's tough. It's tough right now.
I think it's gone way beyond the, should Mick have gone with the fans hounding him out. It's beyond all of that stuff. It's beyond Mick McCarthy now, the whole debate. It is what happens now. And I think that signing one or two, possibly three players from the lower leagues and gradually bringing them into a championship side, I think that he's underestimated for me. From the outside, it looks to me like
I agree.
Totally underestimated the gulf between championship and League One, and I think it's quite huge. If you've got a bit of momentum, it can take you up.
There's players good enough in League One and League Two to make the step up.
Yeah.
But you need help. You need people around you who can help you bed into that level as well. I was someone that did it. I came from Bournemouth. We were in League One at the time and signed for Ipswich in the Championship, who'd been in the playoffs and knocking on the door. It took me a little while to find my feet, if I'm totally honest. 6, 7 games, 8 games, start to get to know things and how it works, and the step up in quality is a big step between the League One and the Championship. So to ask 8 and 9 players to do that at the same time, you're asking an awful lot of them, and I think it's unfair on them to be asked to do that as well.
I think there was something very worthy about appointing Paul Hurst, but there was something about the spirit of what he did at Grimsby and then at Shrewsbury that it's going to take time to replicate in the Championship, and they haven't got that time. They're bottom of the league, 1 win in 13. If you sign a load of League One players, you know exactly where you're going to be heading. So for me, from the outside, and I'd love to hear from Ipswich fans after what Matt's had to say, your former captain, it looks to me like unless they make a change, they are hurtling towards League One. By the way, that's not the end of the world, being in League One. I know it's not what anybody wants. Everybody hates losing games. It isn't the end of the world. It's not like Ipswich are going to fold and go bust or whatever. It is just a lower division where you might actually be winning a few more games than you are this season. But overall, the picture is that they've gone from mid-table and playoffs the year before that, let's not forget, under Mick McCarthy, and now barely winning game, 1 win in 13. So what next for Ipswich Town? The fans were excited about Paul Hurst coming, weren't they? But have they changed their minds after you're saying some people even walked out at half-time on Saturday?